Well, we are one of the all-time best ever game on Commodore 64, Spectrum, or Amstrad. It was just the pinnacle. I mean, the sound. But when we first heard this, me and Daniel, when we loaded this up, I remember it was quite late in an evening. His dad was to pick him up from my house. Actually, he was only 13 at the time, and we had this game sitting there actually all night. We didn't play it, and then we loaded it up, and then come up with this.
Visitor, stay a while, stay forever.
Just absolutely fantastic. It had us hooked. And what I loved about this, I mean, it's best platform game ever. It was in 1994. You can see here it's just Dennis Caswell, published in 1984. It was on various platforms. I actually had it for the PS on the PS2, which I saw, and it still wasn't as good as this original Commodore 64 one. Unfortunately, the Amstrad. Well, I say unfortunate. I was quite pleased that the Amstrad and the Spectrum version were nowhere near as good as the Commodore 64. As you're going to find out in all these reviews, I am totally biased towards the Commodore 64 and love it. And me and Daniel often have arguments over that. But he knows that Commodore 64 was great. So as we go into the game, best platform game ever. It's one that you've got the control panel, which is amazing. What I love from it as well is these robots are amazing. You had these little computer things where you could go and try and disable them, but you had to go and get the passwords. You could redo the lifts on this. It was awesome. What I loved about it, and still love about it, is these robots. It's annoying, but I love it about it. However many times I've played this over the years, and God knows how many times, these robots, you just don't know what they're going to do. You jump over them, you think, oh, you've got them down, and it's like this way, you think, right, he's not going to do nothing. And you jump over him, and you go to this one, he just does nothing. Brilliant, hey, when you get caught by a robot, you know, but you just don't know what they're going to do. And that bit as well, the jump, it just made it fantastic. You see, and this ball, oh my god, this ball, what an awesome this was, again. But you just don't know what these robots are going to do. You think, oh, he's not going to do anything, and then you think, right, I'll jump over him then, I'll go up to him slowly, and let he comes at a million miles an hour. You just don't know what they're going to do. But this game, the whole idea of the game then was to avoid the robots, obviously, avoid that ball, because that's what that does to you, and to try and get all these. I mean, so you've got a desk here, and you have to go to it, and hopefully it will come up with things. And you see when it comes up, so that's a robot snooze button that we've done. But the idea we're looking for is actually puzzle pieces like that. And then in the game, you've got to go back to the control panel, which I'll show you in a bit, to actually make the puzzle. And it's just a nightmare of a game to ever complete. But that's really annoying when you do something. Sometimes when you get the puzzle, it's great. Sometimes when you really difficult to get to a certain object, and then when you get to it, there's nothing there, and you're just like, ugh. So, brilliant. And again, I say the robots, you just don't know what they're going to do. You think you've got time, and it comes quicker. It's just brilliant. And one thing I thought was just because you could do this bit where you do the somersaults. I don't know why, but I just can't go past one of these terminals without trying that. I don't know why. It doesn't make any odds, but brilliant. One thing I love as well is when we start a new game is the complete randomness of the rooms. So how can you not love that? So you can see the rooms are completely different. We're going to the first room. The setup is completely different, and I love that. So kind of there's no, you have to, every time you play a new game, you have to kind of rethink of where you are. There's no kind of normality about it that you're always doing this and oh, you've got to redo the first 4 levels again because, and they're going to be boring because they're the same. You just don't know what's going to happen, which is great. It's like this, you think it's going to do nothing. And this one here is it, and you see the variety of the robots is just absolutely incredible. So I think we've got some time, so, and he catches me. So it's just an all-time great game, and the whole point is as you go through the whole thing, you've got all these separate rooms, and this one was a nightmare because you've got to try and get to the platform. So yeah, oh, he's done it first time. And so this one, look at this. So where'd you go? You can't go this platform. You've got this little pesky character over here. So we're going to go up there and try and do this, and then you do all this, and there's nothing there. And you go, and you go there. So sometimes you just got to bite a bullet. But this is where it gets fantastic. So you may notice at the bottom of the screen, you've got these blank holes there. Look what happens when you go, and this is just absolutely incredible. The problem is every time you do that, you add 10 minutes to your time. Now, if we go into the control panel here, you can see this is where you have to make up the puzzle pieces. There's all sorts of things you can do from this. It's no image selected, so you can, when you've got all your images, you can make up your puzzle. And the whole idea is to set that puzzle up. And as you'll see from Daniel, he went in a bit more detail about this in the review. Shows how many snoozes you've got, how many lifts you've got, how much time you've got left. This is important. So every time you die, you take 10 minutes off that time. But just the sound of the lift. I always had this thing where I always want to go down the side, each side, but it's the bottom of it. Just can't help but stop doing that. It's brilliant. Again, robots, what does he do? Does nothing to do. Right, so now you know that you've got those. Right, this time I just jump over him, but then. And you go, now where do I go? We're going to try and find the music room actually. There's a music room in here as well, which is brilliant because the music room, which is really great. So, what, 1984, so over 30 years old now. We've been playing it since 1984, me and Daniel. And it was funny, we were talking the other night. He did not know that the music room is where you get your snoozes and your to pause the robots from. So when we go up to the, I can do it without this bloody ball catching me. When we go up to this, and it says password required, and lifted, there's a music room you can go to get them. Let's see if we can find that music room. Let's go back in. What we might have to do is cut. So you can see the robots, you just don't know what they're going to do all the time. You think, right, well, I've got some time, but then he comes after you. So be really patient. It's just a great game. You see that? He was just doing nothing, that robot. Just go inside, and then you go anywhere near him, he starts shooting. It's just brilliant how the programming by Dennis Kennedy was absolutely, Caswell was absolutely fantastic. And this is 1984, and this just stands up now. You know, it's just stands up as a great game now. And I think, and it always will do. You know, the good thing is if you look in sort of recent history with Minecraft and with here's the music room, brilliant. So with Minecraft and obviously smartphone games now, that actually this doesn't look completely outdated now because we've kind of gotten used to some poorer graphics and accepted it because we want to play them on our phone, and it's like with Minecraft, had a big following, and you know the graphics weren't great, but so it's made these more acceptable. But when you go back to a lot of these games, they still look really old, except for this one's just fantastic. So here's the music room. So the idea is with this is to then replay the 3, but not in the order that they told you, is in from the low to high notes. And you get that. And then you can try, now go to 4. And I can't remember. I always use, so I've done that one as well. But right, so it's not the order, it's from low to high. And you'll probably watch the screen going, no, it's that one. Okay, yeah, okay. And there you go. I don't really stick it out because when it gets to this point, it's just, I think, right, okay, right, I can't be bothered. And you can see it's, we just come out of that. But if we go to a terminal now, and you can see from the green screen in the middle there, the bottom middle, that there's so many rooms as well and so many things to do. It's just such a great game even now. So we want to temporarily disable the robots, and see now it's accepted, and that's what the snoozing does. And then you've also got, you can reset the lifts as well. So now they're snooze, and now you can get away, and this is great because it's almost like Oh, I know, mucks it up. You see, and when you muck it up, when you've got to pause, that is just so annoying. So we're going to go do the lifts again. And I've fucked up again. So as you can see, there's just so much to it. It's unbelievable. And then the whole idea is just, we're not going to go through the whole game, obviously, because one, it very rarely do complete it, and try and see the guy at the end. It's just, and so you just don't know what they're going to do. It's just such a great game, and will always be the best platform game ever. It doesn't, I can guarantee, it doesn't matter what's going to come out in my lifetime, they're going to be going back to this. And even my kids now, so my kids are 15, 11, and my two other boys, and I showed them this a couple of weeks ago, and they were going, "Right, it's amazing! It's got brilliant, isn't it? It's just, you know, it's just got that longevity." And as I said at the start, this will always be, I think, the #1 game. Whenever you say what was the best game, there's some great games in Commodore 64 and Amstrad and the Spectrum. We'll be reviewing a lot of them. Daniel's already done the Jet Set Willy review, Roland on the Ropes review. We're definitely going to do the last V8 sometime, because that was a corker as well, people, if you remember that. That was a corker. But this will always be the #1. This is one that, with speech, was unbelievable. Those of you who played this on the Amstrad and never seen it on the Commodore 64, won't remember the speech as fondly as what we do with the Commodore 64s, because it wasn't as quite as good as that, and it was worth just starting the game again just to get that. So this is always going to be the standard set for any games, even though just being the best platform game, it's just the best game ever from that era. So catch it, go and have a look at some of the other reviews on there. Go and check out some of the stuff that Daniel's put on the site. There's lots of great stuff on the site now, and we're going to continue to building it up. And there are going to be t-shirts available and mugs and all that sort of stuff that you can buy, so you can have your favourite character or game on a t-shirt soon coming to you. And great, talk soon.